Hello at all and a very warm welcome to my presentation. My name is Nina Stolz and today I want to talk to you about leadership. In this presentation it is going about 3 approaches which have been grabbed up, and I will give you a short overview about leadership in general, what it means and who are leaders. Then I will bring up the 3 approaches to you. How do they work? What are the characteristics of leaders? And also I will give you some examples of leadership persons. So let's start with leadership in general. One of the essentials in leadership is influence. So through leadership, an individual influences followers to reach a common goal. So leadership is about making decisions, communicate transparent visions, preset achievable and realistic goals in reconciliation with the company's needs, and support followers with all they need to accomplish the goals together. Leaders have to inspire others to be willing to work to reach the goal. Through the amount of leadership definitions, you can grab up and say leaders have the capability to spark people for their decisions and to motivate them for following. There are existing a lot of leadership styles. So leadership works in many different ways, but always belonging to the company's culture. In consideration of the globalization and combined with the large pressure in the corporate world, I want to show you the following leadership approaches. First, the authentic leadership, then the adaptive leadership, and last, the servant leadership. Because to insist as a successful company, despite all the environmental and socially outside influences, you have to promote your greatest strengths, your employees. So these 3 approaches enables companies to be fair to their employees so that they can develop and bring the best out of themselves. Nowadays, topics like lifelong learning are of high importance because people have to acquire more and more knowledge and develop their skill sets in a broad way. The company can also benefit from a well-developed and excellently trained employees. First, I want to talk about authentic leadership. Authentic leadership is a people-centered leadership style. These leadership style promote the diversity and endorse the personal development of the followers, also like the teamwork. In most lexica, you can find the definition authentic, based on facts, accurate, or reliable. Authentic leaders are real. They do not fake their leadership only because they are in a high hierarchical managing position. They are truly believe in their values and act accordingly to them. They have sophisticated their values out of life experience. They do not use them only because they are politically or socially suitable. Authentic leaders are also no very especially people with a large number of fancy traits. So, to summarize, an authentic leader does not take on a role to fit in the imagination of a leader. Authentic leadership persons are always themselves. They act eudaimonic. That means that their moral values are according to the things they do in their life. For authentic leaders, there consists a value-based superior goal which they have to achieve, and therefore they are engaging in leadership. Authentic leaders also values the input and the attempts of their followers, and they are interested in faithfully relationships to them. Authentic leaders lead with heart and passion. Their traits are courage, sympathy, and interest in followers. Authentic leaders also bear in that the work life is influenced by many personal aspects. As an example, I want to mention Warren Buffett. He is the chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway and a great business investor. Once he was recorded saying, "It is far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price." These words are not the generally way of doing it in the nowadays financial industry, which is mostly interested in seeking wealth and profits. But Buffett demonstrates how to create values and take care of the people which influenced in their life out of his decisions. He donated over $50 million to the Gates Foundation to promote health and education around the world. So he shows authenticity through that he is caring for the society and the people. Buffett himself is known as frugally. For example, he always drives himself to work. Up next, I want to talk about adaptive leadership. As already mentioned, the competitive situation is always more and more challenging for companies. So to be successful, a company has to adjust on new circumstances easily. So nearly every company has to do with change processes. The topic change is one of the important things in the adaptive leadership approach. The adaptive leadership is a people-centered leadership style. In this approach, the leading person supports and provides the followers through struggling times in work life. Often, change processes come together with fear and uncertainty for employees. These leaders assists and shows up the necessity of change so that the follower can recognize it, and through this the leader builds up an acceptance for the change process and motivates the follower for this. An acronym for characteristics of adaptive leadership persons is CODE. Character is a key competence of adaptive leadership. No employee likes leaders who blame them for failure in front of others or do not admit that they also fail from time to time. Dishonest leaders are no good leaders, and employees or followers will fast get disgusted or frustrated of them. Organizational justice means that a leader should have an open-minded communication level with the followers and take their concerns seriously. development means also that the leader should be open-minded, but here for new methods, instead of using old practice only because it is done this way always. So adaptive leaders support innovation and development to progress the success of a company. Emotional intelligence. This is the most important characteristic of an adaptive leader. It means to be highly self-aware, but also aware of others. Leaders with high emotional intelligence are calm, empathic, and true team players. So when you are looking for examples of adaptive leadership persons, great names like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. or Nelson Mandela will come up. These because the approach has to do with the reorganization of values. This could not only be deployed in companies, but also in society. So all these big personalities had one in common. They had a dream which they were convinced about. And so they mobilized people to bring up the change together. Adaptive leadership is a way to show people that they have the power to accomplish their own realities. At least I want to talk about servant leadership. This approach differs from other approaches in the way that servant leaders put their followers first. So the followers will be supported to envelop his capabilities. The wants and interests of the employees are more important than the matters of the leading person. Servant leaders have a keen humanistic understanding and interest in their followers. They are building up long-time relationships with their followers, and so they are a little bit like a coach for the employees. As a servant leader, they have excellent listening skills because listening is one of the most important characteristics of this approach. Also traits like empathy, awareness, foresight, and commitment are important. But everyone can learn how to be a servant leader. As an example for servant leadership, I want to bring up Kristen Hadid, founder and CEO of StudentMate. She founded the cleaning company in 2009 and grew into a business with hundreds of employees. She realized that she failed leading when 45 of her first 60 employees quit. So she recognized leadership isn't a privilege to do less. Leadership is a responsibility to do more. And so she raised up a culture of values and built relationships between their customers and their followers. She gives her employees purpose and freedom to engage and to bring up their best work. She also wants to do something good for society, and so StudentMate cleans free for cancer patients. So I hope I could give you a short overview about these three approaches, and thank you for your time and your attention. Bye!